y como anímicamente y bueno, en varios aspectos del programa que nos ayuda a seguir adelante con esta nueva aventura.
Don't be afraid to take that step. Like, don't be afraid to get help. Because, you might think that you know what you're doing, but it's always okay to have extra support, and don't do it alone.
Give it a try. You got nothing to lose. It's free. I'm grateful that I took advantage because it's something that has put me in touch with my child, or closer to my child and her development.
Mendocino County Board of Supervisors Annual Organizational Meeting. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 9 a.m. and I'd like to invite Sheriff Kendall to lead us in the pledge.
Thank you. We're ready to begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We will now invite CEO Darcy Antle to conduct the oath of office for new supervisors Klein, Mulhern, and Norvell.
Please come down here. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that you will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of California, and that you take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that you will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which you are about to enter. Good job. Thank you.
All right, we will now conduct the roll. Supervisor Klein.
Present.
Supervisor Mulhern.
Here.
Supervisor Hashak.
Here.
Supervisor Norvell.
Here.
And Supervisor Williams.
Good morning.
Moving on to agenda item 4A, discussion and possible action including election of the chair and vice chair of the Mendocino County Board of Supervisors for the 2025 calendar year. At this time, we'd like to request nominations for chair and vice chair from members of the board.
I'd like to nominate Supervisor Hashak as the chair and Supervisor Norvell as the vice chair.
I'll second.
All right, is there any public comment on this item? Seeing none. We'll call for the roll. Supervisor Hashak.
Aye.
Supervisor Norvell.
Yes.
Supervisor Williams.
Yes.
Supervisor Mulhern.
Yes.
And Supervisor Klein.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
All right, so I guess I take the gavel. And I'd just like to say thank you for this honor and privilege. First time I was chair was in 2020, took office in January, and the world shut down about 2 months later. So I hope that this year is a little smoother and less dramatic and healthier for all. So I also want to appreciate the previous chair, Supervisor Mulhern, for strength and clarity throughout the last year. Supervisor Mulhern did an excellent job of keeping issues in front of us, focusing on the positive achievements of the county, and working through thorny issues. And I appreciate the work that how she celebrated staff and appreciated what staff does each and every day. So it was, thank you for your work last year. Okay. And something new we're trying to do this year is before the meetings, we're screening some of the information about the board meetings, the processes and everything, the procedures, how to contact the board members, the clerk, individual supervisors. And if you need more information, there'll be, the screen is supposed to be rolling that information before the meetings and during the breaks. So we keep the communication with the public clearer and make sure everyone knows what's going on. So hopefully that provides something for the public to learn from and be informed with. Okay, so I'm going to call for public expression. This is a time for the public to express issues that are kind of pertinent to the board's purview. If there's more than one, well, each person is limited to 3 minutes, but if there's more than numerous people on a specific issue, that will be limited to 10 minutes. So first of all, I'd like to call up Carol Hester, who is going to give us a little musical interlude. So thank you, Ms. Hester, for coming today.
Ready? Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous night o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? And instead of play ball, y'all will go forth, and I just have a small thing to say of how excited I am about this group of supervisors. I expect great and wonderful things from you, and I just wanted to leave you with this one little piece of wisdom that one of my teachers through high school said to us. Everybody has a hobby horse to ride. And when you think about that, all of us have special agendas, special things, and y'all have such a challenging job to sort through, sift through, find out what's important. Air and water to me are like really important. So I just want to tell you that we pray. My husband and I pray for y'all every single day. The whole board. Anybody who has authority over us, we pray for you, including Darcy. So. Darlene, it's so good to see you. Excuse me. Thank you, and thank you for your service. Those who have served, those who are starting your service. It's not the beginning of your service because you've been serving communities a long time. So good luck, Supervisor Hashak, and we'll be seeing y'all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Hester. And thank you for your public service. Ms. Hester spent many years on the grand jury as a foreperson and truly a dedicated public servant. Okay. Any other public expression?
Hi, good morning, members of the board, CEO Antle, County Council Scott. My name is Jesse Van Voris. I'm the Acting Deputy Director for the Adult and Aging Services Division, Department of Social Services. I came today to highlight an award that our IHSS program received as part of a quality assurance monitoring review that we conducted with the state. Annually, the state reviews our casework, our compliance in various areas. They select a sample of case files to review to make sure they're meeting certain criteria. As part of that review, the state presented us with an award for timeliness reassessment compliance that I wanted to share. I also brought copies that I can leave here. Anybody be interested in seeing them? The state reviewers also provided some positive feedback in addition to providing the award to us about our overall casework, the accuracy of the determination of findings, the thoroughness of the documentation, and the overall case quality. I think that the department has experienced some turnover in terms of IHSS staffing, specifically within the last year, and also significant program growth. I think now we're over 2,200 active recipients countywide, which is the most that we've ever had. And through all of those challenges, we continue to maintain a high level of casework, and I really think it's a testament to the dedication and hard work of our IHSS team. So I just wanted to take a moment to highlight the positive feedback we got and the successful review that we had.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning, board. Cody Aiken here. So I'm just here once again for the cannabis industry, begging you guys once again to, just kind of leave the taxes as is or minimalize them because we're struggling out here. If you look at Mendocino County in a whole, we went from 5 digits of cannabis farms, Proposition 215 era. Yeah, we've weeded out the bad actors, everything, and now there's 500 legal farms. So yeah, we definitely should prioritize the legal farms here. 1 would be taxes. 2, self-distribution would help a ton if you guys brought that back. Why that was ever revoked, I really don't know. It was something to do with a lawsuit, I believe. But if we could implement that again, dispensaries, everyone, they do like seeing farmers and farmers' faces, and wholesale prices nowadays just aren't cutting it. So, to be able to brand, to be able to do everything, rather than just send emails and stuff to dispensaries, they don't get back to you. You have to show your face. You have to go there. Any sort of business, you have to contact someone 8 times to get a hold of them. How are we supposed to do that? Just over and over again, email them? No. It would make it so much easier and really make the cannabis business, once again, lucrative, or not even lucrative, profitable to the ones that are in it still. And, as far as the next thing, the Willits Environmental Group, I love what they do. I don't want to, bash them at all. But, there are some farms, ag land, industrial zoning, that could expand, that could create, legacy things out here that Mendocino County should have been. Said that before. You look at what they're doing in Thailand and everywhere else, multi-million-dollar facilities, billions, huge money coming to town, creating revenue and jobs. And that's not happening here because of the regulations and because we're not prioritized. And everyone's running away, going to Lake County, Salinas, Oklahoma, because it's that much easier and they're hurt. So I'm just asking you guys to prioritize us as cannabis farmers, get some of the stuff on the agenda. Let's vote for it and let's make it better here. Once again, thank you very much, board.
Okay, thank you.
I am Liana Costa. I wanted to welcome everyone and wish everyone in the room a happy new year and for our families and ourselves to have an abundance of prosperity. I am also employed in the county of Mendocino, and that means that I come here I leave my house from Sonoma County when it's dark and I get home when it's dark, so my active spending happens right here in the town of Ukiah, so I participate heavily to the sales tax base. I also am a landowner, which means that I have a property tax bill twice a year. And I bought this piece of land with my best friend and her parents. And we haven't, our tenant hasn't been able to get their license to have the cultivation nursery, the nursery that we want to have on this land, and it's definitely causing an issue. The last time I was here before the board, I told you guys a story about how I flew from San Francisco to Amsterdam to India, and I made hash in the Himalayas. But what I didn't tell you was the beginning of the story, and it happened right here on Spy Rock Road with a man that's now passed away, who had an idea that you could take water and separate the trichromes on the leaves of the cannabis and use the water and gravity to separate the trichromes from the hash. And his idea was stolen from him, and we've all watched as people have made millions of dollars with his idea. But the people that are here now and still alive want to have that same dream. And what they need to be able to do is they need to be able to do what the environmental impact report said. They need to be able to cultivate 22,500 square feet of cannabis to survive. Mendocino County must understand this because our county has a Costco. Humboldt County doesn't have a Costco. I don't think Trinity County has a Costco. And when you think about it, 1 square acre is around 44,000 square feet. And right now, depending on the interpretation and who you are and what you think might happen with the law, you can only do 10,000 square feet actually, because they haven't actually processed anyone's permit that's applied to have double the cultivation. And then the other problem is that you can't have two of the same. So you're telling me if someone successfully grows 10,000 square feet of cannabis, fits with all of the setbacks and all the regulations, they can't grow another 10,000 square feet of cannabis in full sun? They have to make a choice to maybe gamble like my family and friends did as to whether or not they can get another permit to have a second kind of cannabis facility on their land. And I just think that idea needs to be rethought. And we in Mendocino County need to be able to cultivate 22,500 square feet, and it can be 2 permits of the same exact one. And for the people that are about 100 applicants like myself, my tenant and my family and friends, we need to be able to have our process go forward with the state. And I know you guys keep saying it's not the county, it's the state, but it's your guys' county, and you need to tell the DCC to look at those other 100 applicants because they're going to lose their land and have it forfeited, and they're going to lose millions of dollars, and they're not going to be able to pay their property tax bills.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for letting me speak at this moment. I would like to tell you a little bit about what we have experienced. A people's referendum a few years clearly voiced the opinion of 6,000 Mendocino County residents that we do not want commercial cannabis expansion in Mendocino County. Based on figures from recent surveys taken in support of cannabis prohibition districts, we believe roughly 70%, if not more, of the citizenry of this county do not support expansion either. We are deeply concerned by statements made by growers in the October 22nd meeting that 1, they don't believe that 20,000 square feet is even enough to be viable, and 2, they are now pushing to be allowed direct grower consumer on-site sales, which is a very slippery slope wherein these grows are often using private roads and are located in close proximity to residential areas. Perhaps the greatest concern is what the previous board did not seem to be listening to a broader audience of roughly 62,000 residents of the population of Mendocino County, but only 500 or 600 cannabis growers and their lobbyists. This has been a huge disservice to the citizenry of this county and frankly would be considered a dereliction of duties. The past board's unwillingness to listen to all your constituents and perform your duties without keeping in mind the greater good for the majority of them will most likely continue to result in lawsuits against the county, which are lawsuits we taxpayers bear the burden of cost. We hope you will listen to us more carefully in this new year. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Let's see. We've had 3 comments already about the cannabis issue, and it's not even on the agenda. I understand some people want it brought onto a future agenda, but it's not on today's agenda. This is public expression. So I really am going to, there's pro and cons to this, but we're going to limit it to the 10 minutes. So
How many minutes are we on now?
We're on 7.
Okay, well, wish I thought this was stronger than it is, but hello, I'm Christine Boyd. I live in Redwood Valley. I've spoken before this group and your prior representatives a few times on the cannabis issue. I'm not against cannabis. I'm certainly not against small growers, but I am one of the 70% who do not favor expansion of cannabis grows in Mendocino County. We have a lot of reasons for this. Look at the old minutes and you'll see lots of those reasons, what they are, and they're important things. But I think more to the point for me is that in October, I was busy looking at other things, like the national election. I wasn't paying too close attention on October 22nd when this item came before you for a vote to expand from 10,000 square feet to 20,000 square feet. There are a lot of bad reasons, or good reasons why this is a bad thing. We don't want it to expand. We don't want there to be more square footage for growth. We do not want direct sales from our neighborhoods, which are already experiencing significant downsides to having large cannabis grows in our neighborhoods. So we ask you to bring this up again, listen to the will of the people. Don't put yourselves in a position of being responsive only to a special interest. They're lobbyists, they're lawyers. We're just plain old people trying to keep track of this. And we really would appreciate your support for our position. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I got maybe a minute or two here, and I can speak on cannabis since we have 10 minutes. And I'm wondering about where does the 5% that you've been taking, let's say for my business, the $1 million that we've given you over, where does that money go when you extract 5% of gross from dispensaries? Does the crystal meth task force, or how does that take a load off the police when really they need help with like mental health? And cannabis does not cause crime. Like, so these last two people that just spoke don't understand what this community is. We'll fill this courtroom with 400 people and show you like this is a cannabis community, and letting people grow more isn't going to hurt. It's only going to help. Again, I ask, like, where does that money go and what is done with it?
Okay. Pardon?
Through the chair, if I may, can I get the speaker's name for the record?
All right, so hold on.
You know I'm already here. I have 10 seconds to say one.
Now, let me just go through the process right now. So with public expression, you have 10 minutes on one particular topic. Seems like cannabis has been the topic so far, so I am going to limit it to 10 minutes. If people have additional comments, you can contact, and it should have been on the screen, about how to contact your supervisor or the board in general. And,
they don't respond. That's the problem. That's why.
Well, excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. So, okay. Okay, I just heard you, but we've got a rule that we're going with this 10-minute rule, and it's going to apply to the cannabis industry, it's going to apply to anyone else with a single issue topic, so that's what we're going. Okay, so anyway, we've got a half a minute left. Yeah.
Board members, I'm happy to have fresh ears on this subject. And for the next 30 seconds, I just want to say we need to bring this to a separate meeting. And how do we do that? Because this is an issue. I am an accountant, and I am seeing businesses fail. And I know that there's two sides to this story, but cannabis has been around for 25 years, just not legally. So we need to do something, and we need to have a separate meeting where all of us, both sides, can come together and talk about it and see what's best for this county growth-wise, safety, where the money's going that you're taking from dispensaries. Have an open discussion where it's not so secretive. Nobody knows where this tax money's going, and I've seen businesses pay millions of dollars to the county. So that's what I'm here for, and when we can do that.
Thank you. So,
through the chair, if I may, can I please get the speaker's name for the record? Thank you.
Okay, so the CEO and I have been working on, kind of creating some forums for different industries to look at what the needs are in that industry And so we are going to start rolling those out probably in February. And cannabis is one of the first ones we wanted to deal with. And so there will be community or meetings, and I think that there need to be community meetings about that too. So I appreciate those last comments, and we are working on that. And it can also be brought up in the General Government Committee. Okay? So for now, you know, we've gone through our 10 minutes of talk about cannabis. So if there's public expression about something that's not on that topic, you're more than welcome to step forward.
Although my subject is related to cannabis, it's on a very specific item of it, and I can state it in one sentence. Hopefully that is respectful of your limitation, Supervisor Haschak. Right now, the Cannabis Department is accepting applications for over 10,000 square feet of cannabis area, and the law on the books only allows a maximum of 10,000 square feet per parcel. And I think it's a very dangerous situation to be in, where the staff is implementing.
Okay, I understand what you're talking about.
Let me say that I want to urge the board to, as soon as possible, tell staff to cease accepting applications for more than, that violate the ordinance. Thank you.
Understood, thank you. Okay, any other public expression that's not on the cannabis issue?
This is, I'll just start out. I'm Kyle Greenouch. I'm the business owner of 3 businesses here in Mendocino County. Just recently, we just closed one of our businesses, which is a clothing boutique down in downtown Ukiah, down 2 businesses because we are not making any sales. I also own Heritage Mendocino, a cannabis dispensary in Ukiah, and I also have a farm in Willits. I'd like to thank you for the great opportunity to be able just to give you my 3 minutes here.
Are you talking about cannabis?
No, I'm talking about our economy. So here's what, as a business owner here in Mendocino, I get the great opportunity to talk to many owners around our county, ranging from restaurant supplies, farm supplies, home improvement stores, and many other small businesses around our beautiful county. We all have the same experience. Our county is struggling. Our businesses are struggling to make ends meet. Spending is way down, and our younger generation is moving away. We need to change, and we need it now. These past few months, you've heard from multiple cannabis farms, vineyard owners, restaurant owners, supply shops, and we're presented with hundreds of signatures from our community asking the same thing, to expand our cannabis canopy to 22,000 square feet. And that's not just on ag.
Okay.
That just means a simple, hold on.
I'm going to cut you off right now, okay? Because but you're going into the cannabis issue, which, well, pivot right now.
As you know, cannabis has been an issue, but I think also too as well, there's a bigger, broader spectrum that's going on in here. Mo, you've made a wonderful comment yesterday that you want to hear everybody's voice here. You made that on your social media. We don't want to be heard. We want to be listened to. I think there's a big pivotable thing situation here, and we have a beautiful community, and it's called our great open spaces here. We have a great Redwood Trail coming into our community. We have a great other experience that we can actually do something here. Why not turn mountain biking into the mecca of the world here in Mendocino County? Why not take a focus on doing something different? Because cannabis, quite frankly, me being an owner, it's not going to save our county. And it's going to take our county to step out and go look what other people are doing, what other logging communities are doing, and what other businesses are doing to bring people back into our community here, to keep younger people here that spend money, that actually shop at our businesses, that take our time. Unfortunately, I'm sorry I've wasted your time this morning, but thank you so much. You'll be seeing a hell of a lot more of us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning.
Your name, please?
Jim Owen. Happy New Year, everyone. First, welcome Supervisors Klein and Norville. We Mendocino County residents look forward to working with this new board. We'd also like to give a shout out to Dan Jurdy for his working. Thank him for all his years of service, of listening and hearing his constituents. We believe he did a great job and performed his duties as any supervisor should for the greater good of the majority of his constituents. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Gizmo. I'd like to welcome the new supervisors. I'm just coming here to let you folks know that I've been working for a long time now on traffic, so you're going to hear a lot from me as far as transportation goes, public safety, fire, and also tourism. I just, without touching base on the subject that's most people are touching base on this morning, I just have, after dealing with the county and the supervisors over time, there's been some issues with confusion and transparency, and I think the transparency has to do with backdoor deals where one thing is said and then another thing comes out when the public hears what's going on. And part of the controversy that's going on right now behind me has a lot to do with that. So we really need to implore you folks to please be upfront with us with what is going on in your closed sessions as soon as possible through any media. Okay, this is a direct thing that we're having trouble with. We have signed notices from CEOs, CAOs, from people, and then all of a sudden the money's not there or it's been transferred to somewhere else. This is not a good thing. This does not build trust with our community. Now we need to build this trust. This is a bridge. This is a new year that we need to start. And I need to look in each one of your eyes and have a commitment from what you are telling us when you come to our MAC meetings, when you come and share your vision of the future here in Mendocino County. And we want to be a part of that vision, and we need to be brought in on the table to be a part of that vision. Okay, thank you and have a great day.
Okay, thank you. Is there any public expression online?
Seeing none.
All right. Okay, so we'll move on from public expression and go to the consent calendar. Would anyone like to pull any consent calendar items? I would like to pull 3AI. A proclamation recognizing January 9th, 2025 as National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day in Mendocino County. Any others to be pulled? Supervisor Williams.
Yeah, I have comments and questions on 3J and 3F. Not pulled for separate consideration.
Okay, just for some questions. Okay, so we'll go to 3AI first. And this is a proclamation recognizing January 9th, 2025. And it says, and Sheriff Kendall, if you could come down, please. This is a proclamation from the board. It's a proclamation of the Mendocino County Board of Supervisors recognizing January 9th, 2025 as National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day in Mendocino County. Whereas of 2024, there are over 800,000 sworn law enforcement officers serving in the United States, including the dedicated members of the Mendocino County Sheriff's Office. And whereas 54 law enforcement officers were feloniously killed in line of duty from January 1st, 2024 to October 31st, 2024. And whereas Mendocino County has suffered losses of law enforcement officers in the past, and there's a beautiful tribute or memorial for them. Thank you for that. Whereas the duty of law enforcement officers is to serve and protect the citizens of their jurisdiction every day, every year, without fail, in an ever increasingly dangerous environment. This day was established to remember and thank those officers for their duty and sacrifice, that all may have a safer community in which to live. And now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Supervisors of Mendocino County hereby proclaims January 9th, 2025 as Law Enforcement Appreciation Day in Mendocino County. Everyone is encouraged to thank an officer for their service on this day and all throughout the year. So, and I just like to say, I want to thank you for your your articles in the media, keeping in contact with the community, especially your latest one recognizing the diversity of our communities, hiring of residents who are DACA, and the value that they provide to law enforcement. As you stated, many folks try to divide us based on our differences. It's time for that to stop. Our strength will always come from the sense of community we share here in Mendocino County. So thank you for those words, and we have this proclamation I want to present to you.
Thank you, Supervisor Hashak. I wanted to thank the board for helping us with the endeavor to put the Peace Officers Memorial in that our District Attorney David Eister was a huge portion of. I've got a couple of my old friends that are, so I appreciate it.
All right. We also needed to pull item 3U, which has been withdrawn at the request of the department. And we're going to pull item 3E for separate consideration because it's an air quality issue. Okay. So Supervisor Williams, you had a question about 3J?
Yeah, so 3J is the county investments policy, which was discussed at a recent meeting. I'm supporting it item today. I think it's a great start. I think the public may have some requests for additional changes, and my understanding is this is a living document and we can change it throughout the year.
If I may, through the chair, Sarah Pierce, Acting Auditor Controller, Treasurer Tax Collector. I would need to turn to County Council to confirm that it can be updated throughout the year. But my understanding is it's adopted at the beginning of the year, and then we abide by that. So I may need to get back to you on that.
Through the chair, if I may. Charlotte Scott, County Council. I think, yes, typically it's introduced at the beginning of the year so that the county and the Acting Auditor, Controller, Treasurer, Tax Collector has the opportunity to work with the policy through her authority delegated by the board. But I believe there can be amendments at a later point if that is the request of the board, and you know, at that time you can consider the feedback from the public and from the auditor controllers.
Thank you.
Okay.
Chair, do you want me to move on to 3F?
Yes.
3F is in regards to budget preparation, and I support the item and the CEO working on it. I have heard from many constituents who would like the board to be more inclusive, collecting public input on budget priorities for the year ahead. I think we need to define that process. I can support this today, but I'm hoping at the workshop we can talk about what the public process may be. To give you one example, the public tells me roads is a higher priority than is represented in the budget. This may be an opportunity to talk about that rather than doing a copy and paste of last year's budget and making a few minor tweaks, re-envision. And I'll say that I know there's more mandates than there are dollars. I think the public is more concerned about roads than they are the county meeting every mandate, right? Maybe separating green waste at the county is something we should do, but it's not higher than making sure the roads are safe for the public.
Point well taken, and that will be discussed. The budget process will be discussed at the workshop next week. I believe it's on the 15th, Wednesday. And one idea would also be for the General Government Committee to have some of that in-depth look at what's going on with the budget in different departments. Okay, thank you. And so we're going back to the consent calendar for approval of everything except for 3U, which was pulled, and then 3E.
Move approval.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Okay, is there any public expression?
Good morning, Board of Supervisors, and welcome to the new members of the board. My name is Townley Say. I'm the Executive Director for First 5 Mendocino, And on the consent calendar is your recognition for the Positive Parenting Awareness Month for, it's on 3D. We recognize it in January. We've been doing that in Mendocino County for the last, I think, 6 years. And I just wanted to let everybody know, or I don't know, how many years now? So many years. But just thank you for recognizing that there needs to be awareness around positive parenting initiatives. Triple P, the Positive Parenting Program, has been initiated in Mendocino County for nearly 20 years. First Five Mendocino has been established in Mendocino County for 25 years, which you recognized last month, so thank you. And I also wanted to just take this opportunity to invite any of the board members to stop by our First Five Mendocino offices on Talmadge. We would love to kind of tour our offices, show you our new community space where we support families and children in the community, and that we serve the entire county. And I would like to also let Jade Aldrich, our postal representative, tell you more about the Triple P program and specifically and how it affects families in Mendocino County.
Good morning to the board. My name is Jade Aldrich. Take a moment and express my gratitude to each of you, especially for your commitment and leadership for our county, and let you know that by lifting this proclamation, you have given voice to those small families and caregivers and parents that are working really hard to raise the next generation of leadership here for our county. And by so recognizing Positive Parenting Month in Mendocino County in January, it gives recognition to the importance of the program. A single father came to one of our classes for help with his tantrum 2-year-old. He couldn't take him to the store and do the shopping. After our class, he realized the importance of affection and became more affectionate, building a relationship with his son, and tantrum vanished. So little stories like this are across the board, thousands in our county in the last 19 years of Triple P. Really appreciate you, all that you do for us.
Okay. And thank you for the positive parenting programs, and certainly that's upstream, trying to solve some of our problems before they become problems. And so thank you very much. All right. So Supervisor Williams, you had the motion to approve. Was there a second to that?
Second.
Was there a second?
Second.
Okay. You have that? All right, so we'll call the question.
Supervisor Klein?
Aye.
Chair Hashak?
Aye.
Supervisor Mulhern?
Yes.
Supervisor Norville?
Yes.
Supervisor Williams?
Yes.
The motion carries unanimously.
Okay, now we're going to, the Board of Supervisors will go into recess for item 3E and will convene as the Board of Directors of the Air Quality Management District. The Mendocino County Board of Supervisors does not receive any additional compensation or stipend for acting as the board of the Mendocino County Air Quality Management District. Okay, so this is for item 3E. Are there any comments from the board? Seeing none. Any public comment? Is there a motion to approve
Move
item
approval.
3E?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Okay, call the question.
Supervisor Williams?
Yes.
Supervisor Norville?
Yes.
Chair Hashak?
Yes.
Supervisor Mulhern?
Yes.
Supervisor Klein?
Aye.
The motion carries unanimously.
Okay, we're going to adjourn as the Board of Supervisors of the Air Quality Management District and reconvene as the Board of Supervisors. All right. So we'll move on to the regular calendar, item 4B, which is discussion and possible action, including acceptance of the informational reports from the assessor, clerk recorder, registrar of voters, acting auditor, controller, treasurer, tax collector, district attorney, sheriff, and various county department heads or designees. Are there any informational items from any of those people? All right, seeing none. Oh, okay, Sheriff Kendall.
Members of the board, Sheriff Matt Kendall. I just wanted to take a minute or so to talk about the CORE program that we're putting together with Dr. Miller's team for basically community outreach and engagement, much like Fort Bragg's crew team is going to have a few more bells and whistles. We've continued to work on this project, and I think that we're getting to a point where I've got one person that I should be able to kind of put on point for this, and then we're going to have a proactive approach to dealing with a lot of these issues. Now, some of it is going to be a little bit hard-nosed when we have criminals. A lot of it is going to be looking for alternatives to incarceration, because I think that's what the state and our communities expect from us. But we have to draw a line in the sand. And if people are going to continue to commit crimes and whatnot, they are going to have to answer for those crimes. Those folks who need and deserve the assistance and are willing to take it, I think that we're coming together right now with Dr. Miller's team to have good alternatives and things that are going to work for our communities. And so as we get ready to start implementing this process, I think we'll get someplace, and I think that we're going to be pretty proud of the work that we're doing. So wanted to brief you on that.
Okay, thank you. And I think that we're doing a workshop next Tuesday afternoon, and that will be part of the focus of that afternoon panel.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right. Moving on to item, well, do we, public comment on that? Anything? Seeing none? Okay, moving on to item 4C. Discussion and possible action, including adoption of resolution adopting the Board of Supervisors rules of procedure. Right? So I'd like to appreciate the CEO and County Council for working with me on some of the changes to the rules. Hope everyone's been able to look at them. Okay. And there was some question about, you know, the consent calendar. If a consent calendar item is going to be pulled, the chair and the clerk of the board should be notified the day before the meeting by noon. Items that are pulled will be heard at the chair's discretion later in the meeting. That is to create a more effective and efficient meeting, so that the flow, so that staff who think that their item is going to be heard at 10 o'clock aren't sitting around until 11:30 to hear an item. So this will hopefully create more, streamline our meetings. But certainly if there's an issue that comes up the morning of, and a supervisor says, someone from the audience or, says, hey, I want item 3X to be pulled, then the supervisors can certainly pull it. It's just that as a standard process, if you see something that needs to be pulled and you're going to pull it, it's going to be pulled, then it's good to give a heads up to everyone else. Okay. Another issue on that was abstentions. We had a couple issues last year. So with this, that abstentions, it says abstentions are not or allowed, but then if you have an abstention, you should provide a reason. But with this new approach, abstentions are not allowed. And if you're going to recuse yourself, then you recuse yourself for either a financial conflict or another non-financial conflict, such as bias or one of those kind of issues. But you either vote or you recuse yourself. Okay? So those are kind of some of the big ones, changes that we made. Does the CEO or County Council want to add anything to some of those changes?
Chair, yes, thank you. Charlotte Scott, County Council. A couple things I wanted to point out. There were extensive revisions or additional language added to the rules regarding disruptive behavior, and that's because the state code changed in 2023 and provided more detailed guidance on what governs how the board considers disruptive behavior. And so the language in that section, and also repeated a little bit later in the rules, so Rule 6, proposed Rule 6 regarding chair and vice chair, talks about the chairs, how the chair can preserve decorum. So it talks about what is actually disruptive behavior, and that there should be a warning before you are going to, you should warn any individual that conducts disruptive behaviors, that conducts a disruption that actually impacts the meeting, disrupts the flow of the meeting. So it's not focused on content, it's focused on what the impact is on the meeting and the public meeting process. So requiring a warning first unless there's a threat that in regards to a use of force. And so that's why that additional language was added. That was a code change that I noticed as we were going through the rules. Another thing that we discovered after the posting of the agenda, Appendix C, consent calendar clarification. This was, Appendix C was added in 2022 by this board and through the clerk of the board.
That's on page 19.
On page 19 of 20. And the very last bullet where it says the following matters are appropriate for the consent calendar: public works project change orders that are $100,000 or less, regardless of the cumulative project cost. The bullet appears to be from either older statute or authority. Government code does not so limit or require that the Board of Supervisors approve change orders at or lower than that amount. The board has authority and in fact passed a resolution in the summer, earlier in the fiscal year in July 2024 that provides that consistent with Public Contract Code section 2142, and authorizes the board to delegate to the purchasing agent and the Department of Transportation director the authority to authorize change orders that can be up to $210,000. And we have, this board has approved that resolution earlier this year. So it would be my recommendation that we strike that last bullet because it would be inconsistent with both state law and with the authority that the board has already delegated to the Director of Transportation on public works projects.
Okay, Supervisor Mulherin.
Thank you. I wanted to thank Supervisor Hashak, the clerk's office, county council, and the executive office for working so diligently on this. As a supervisor, it's really important to me that our meetings are held professionally and that the time and dedication of our employees specifically is respected. So I appreciate all of the additions that were given to the rules of procedures, and I hope that this helps the public understand the level of professionalism that they should see from board members, and also gives our staff more of an ability of what to expect. And I think that I agreed with all of the additional items that were added to the red line and didn't have any changes to suggest. I did want to say that I also really appreciate the thought process and the addition that it will be reviewed each year, because as board members change and as things come up throughout the year, it's important that we reevaluate which rules and procedures are pertinent at that time.
All right. And just going back to what County Council said, so your recommendation is to delete that last bullet point, public works project change orders.
Through the chair,
that whole
correct.
sentence. Right. Okay. Supervisor Williams.
Yeah, so I've abstained now and then. So maybe that changes for me, but I'd like, especially the new supervisors, to consider there are times when an item is presented that you're not against, but there's not enough information for you to say yes. Maybe it's fiscal details. You need to know what it'll cost. Basic questions can't be answered on the spot. If you only have the option of voting in favor or against, that item may fail. It's really hard to bring an item back that's failed. May even be improper in some cases. You sponsored it, it failed. You're not bringing it back at the next meeting with additional details. So the ability to abstain procedurally has some benefit. It's a way to say, I'm not against this, but I need a little bit more information. Hopefully that can come back.
Thank you, Supervisor Williams. I've thought about that too. And if a person doesn't have enough information, then certainly, the process of communicating with staff and getting that information is vital. But if during the meeting you still don't feel like you have enough information, then we can table that item for a future date. We've done that in the past too. But just to abstain and then for different various reasons, we're here to make the decisions and to vote yes or no. But if it needs to be tabled, that can happen too.
So I'm not fighting anyone on it, but I think some of my abstentions would have translated into no votes. And I think that's unfortunate. I think in terms of moving items forward, that may not be in the county's best interest.
All right. Any further comment from the board? Seeing none, is there any public comment on this? Seeing none, online?
Seeing none.
Okay, so look for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the rules and procedures with the omission of the last bullet point on the consent calendar for page 19, the public works project change orders that are 100,000 or less. Just strike that.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Call the question.
Supervisor Mulhern?
Yes?
Supervisor Williams?
No.
Supervisor Klein?
Aye.
Supervisor Norvell?
Yes.
Chair Hashek?
Yes.
The motion carries with Supervisor Williams dissenting.
All right, very good. Moving on to item 4D, discussion and possible action including adoption of the 2025 Board of Supervisors Master Meeting Calendar. All right. So it's in the packet. Any comments?
I don't have any comments. I'd move approval after public expression.
Second.
Okay, any public expression? Okay. Before a lot of the family of Supervisor Klein leave, that just wanted to say that when we finish with the meeting at about 11:30, then we are going to have a reception in conference room A. So I hope you can stay for that. Okay. So there were no public comment about item 4D. It was moved. Was it moved? And seconded. All right. Okay. Call the question.
Supervisor Klein?
Aye.
Chair Hashek?
Aye.
Supervisor Norvell?
Yes.
Supervisor Williams?
Yes.
Supervisor Mulhern?
Yes.
The motion carries unanimously.
Okay, we'll keep going on with agenda item 4E, discussion and possible action including appointment of standing committee members pursuant to historical practice and adoption of resolution regarding board standing committees for 2025. And in addition to this, the recommended participants in the General Government Committee would be Supervisors Mulhern and Norvell.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, any public comment? I'd just like to say, you know, the General Government Committee will be dealing with the drought task force. They have that duty now, the ledge platform, and then also any items that come up, you know, that get recommended by the board or referred by the board to the General Government Committee. And I think that, you know, we'll be talking about kind of budgetary issues too. Okay, so is there any public comment on that? Seeing none? Okay, call the question.
Chair Hashek?
Aye.
Supervisor Klein?
Aye.
Supervisor Norvell?
Yes.
Supervisor Williams?
Yes.
Supervisor Mulhern?
Yes.
The motion carries unanimously.
Okay, item 4F, discussion and possible action including approval of board special assignments, appointments as recommended by the chair of the board. Okay.
Move approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Anyway, I tried to make this equitable for everyone and certainly take into consideration people's interest and strengths and expertise. And so I think it does that. Any public comment? Okay, seeing none. Online?
Seeing none.
Okay, we'll call the question.
Supervisor Mulhern?
Yes.
Supervisor Norville?
Yes.
Supervisor Williams?
Yes.
Supervisor Klein?
Aye.
Chair Hashak?
Aye.
The motion carries unanimously.
All right. We'll move on to item 4G, notice public hearing. Discussion and possible action including approval to establish shorter Williamson Act contracts effective in calendar year 2025 pursuant to state statute, making the requisite finding pursuant to Government Code 16142.1D.
Move approval.
Okay, well, I need to go through the process here, so clerk, has proper notice been established?
Proper notice has been established and all correspondence has been sent to your email.
Okay, so I'll open the public hearing and announce the hearing procedures. The board and a clerk will note correspondence and telephone calls received. Have there been any communications?
All communications have been sent to your email, if any.
Okay, staff presentation. Okay.
Good morning, Katrina Bartlett, Assessor, Clerk Recorder, Registrar of Voters, and on. Welcome the new supervisors. It's nice to see you up there, and it was nice to get to know you each during the candidate process. So this is an annual requirement that we are supposed to do. This backs up the 2011 decision making our Williamson Act contracts 9-year rather than 10-year. And what that came from was when the state could not reimburse us for the funds that we lost from fair market value for Williamson. We're a big ag county. We're, we enjoy our ag, we relish our ag, and we support our ag people. So this is just that. It's just an annual process that we have. We did a legal notice that was published, I believe, on December 26th. We sent out notices to each and every owner of who was in the Williamson Act. I don't know, in early December. And then we will send a notice out tomorrow with your decision on continuing this. So as long as the ag owners are still in compliance, have not changed anything, then this will not affect them.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. So let's see, we'll see if there's any public comment on this. Any public that wishes to comment, please come to the podium. Okay, any public comment online?
Seeing none.
All right, staff or Ms.
Thank you very
Bartlemay, do you have any final comments on that?
No, just that we support the people who are in ag, and we want to continue this program because we think it's a viable thing for us.
Okay, are there any questions from the board? Supervisor Norvell? Oh, you're okay. All right, and so I'll close the public hearing. The matter is now before the Board of Supervisors. Public comment is no longer permitted. Board discussion is permitted, and I'll
Move
look
approval.
for a motion. Moved by Supervisor Williams.
Second.
Second by Supervisor Norvell. Okay, we'll call the question.
Supervisor Norville?
Yes.
Supervisor Hashak?
Yes.
Supervisor Klein?
Aye.
Supervisor Mulhern?
Yes.
Supervisor Williams?
Yes.
The motion carries unanimously.
All right. Okay. So item 4H has been withdrawn. So we'll move. Item 4I was withdrawn. So we'll go to item 4J, Supervisor Reports regarding board special assignments, standing and ad hoc committee meetings, and other items of general interest. So this is a time when, according to our rules, that if you are on an ad hoc or a standing committee, you report out. You also report out those special assignments or things of interest that the board and the public should know. So we'll start with Supervisor Norvell.
Yeah, I really have nothing to report today, but I would like to take the opportunity to thank the CEO, her staff, and the rest of the staff here at the county for the way that they've welcomed me in and made things easy in the process. And the onboarding has been great and very much appreciated. So thank you.
Thank you. Welcome. Okay, Supervisor Mulhern.
I do not have any reports today.
Okay, Supervisor Williams.
No report.
Okay, and Supervisor Klein.
Yeah, I just want to also take a moment to thank the county staff, county CEO, and my colleagues for being so welcoming, as well as the public. It's been a good onboarding process. I'm looking forward to the year, and I also want to stress the importance of this time for us to share out what's happening within our assignments, and I'm looking forward to hearing from all of you during these reports.
All right. And I'll just report out that, we have this workshop, a 2-day workshop coming up next week. It'll be on Tuesday and Wednesday. I appreciate staff's participation in this. The first day we will have a facilitator, and the agenda will be published on Thursday. I appreciate the other supervisors providing your input. We asked supervisors what they thought the biggest concerns or issues were in their districts, and also the county. We're trying to find out what the commonalities are, and that will be discussed in the meeting with the facilitator. And I think that we have a couple panels, one on homelessness, one on public safety on the first day, and then the second day we're going to hear from different departments. We're going to hear from transportation, human resources, public or planning and building services, and also environmental health and county council. And so I think it will be very enlightening. It will take place at the Behavioral Health Training Center in Redwood Valley. It can also be viewed on Zoom. So I'm hoping a very productive meeting where we can all share what our vision is, and to see if we have where we move forward together as a board and the county. So I'm really looking forward to that. And if there's no other comment, we will adjourn the meeting at 10:07. Right? So meeting adjourned.